Hi, my name is Juan, and welcome to The Couch, a podcast where real therapists talk about real things. Please remember that we are therapists, but we are not your therapists, and this podcast is intended for educational purposes only. So recently I did a podcast episode with Jacy over at on the topic of regulating emotions for parents, and focused on the summer, right? So you're a parent, summer's coming up, and you're thinking about how can you stay good, right? It's the big term there, but good meaning stay regulated, stay okay during the summer. And the summers often for parents can be very challenging. Kids are out of school and you're dealing with a lot, right? As a parent myself, I understand, right? You're dealing with trying to figure out how to help them during those moments that tell you they're bored. And you're thinking, wow, you got all this stuff around you. Go play some basketball, play with a friend, do this, do that. You're bored. How could you be bored? Right. So we talked a lot about helping parents navigate that space. And we went into this one area that I want to spend a lot of time today. It's be a short episode that focused on our big emotions, right? And those big emotions are part of the nervous system. And some of you may be familiar with them. We have what's called our hyper arousal state. That's with a HYPER, hyper arousal. You've got your hypo, HYPO, and you've got your window of tolerance. Often a lot of the work that takes place in a counseling session is helping someone lean more towards that space of a window of tolerance. And basically, you could think about your window of tolerance as you're in this place where you're regulated, right? You're anchored down, you're grounded. People use that word a lot in therapy. You're grounded. You're able to be mindful. You're able to think things through. So that helps you to be in that window of tolerance because you're able to process what's happening and then navigate them effectively. Well, what happens is things in life are often not that easy, right? Or clear. We go through shit. We go through things, and our ability to emotionally regulate it's impacted, if you will, by hyper arousal, hypo arousal, and being able to get into that window of tolerance. Hyper arousal, that's often connected to like fight or flight, and really is when your body's like in this it's in this overdrive mode. And you may do things. Some people you could even see it where their face gets red. It could be really fast breathing. It could be behaviors like hitting, maybe yelling, running off, punching something. It could also be internal, like a refusal to do something. And then what's taking place within the body, you've got a lot of stress coming out, adrenaline, cortisol. So a lot is taking place. And if you can imagine, maybe you've been in this position as an adult, and often kids get in this position when things aren't going okay. So there, simply I just want you to know that that can take place. And you've got your hypo arousal. That's a bit more like in the other direction, a bit more of freeze, a bit more of shutting down. So you could think about it as leaning, at least for me, I look at it as like leaning away from the hyper to help me make sense of it. And then once again, remember that the window of tolerance is the one that we want to get to. That's like the place of, oh, I'm okay, Zen. Hypo, there, because you're shutting down, often you may feel like this depressed feeling, lethargic, really unmotivated. It's tough to be mindful there. It's tough to do, breathing work there, because, you may feel numb. So there could be certain ways to see this. It could be that you ignore. Maybe the kids are, rebellious and doing all sorts of stuff, and you're just done. You're just ignoring it. It could be that you're disengaged. Even in your body, you may notice that. What you may notice in the body is you're not eating, right? The desire to eat starts to really get diminished. So this gives you like an idea, right, of the hypo, and then all of this stems from that nervous system, right? And if we look at what's happening there, that's made up of your brain, your spinal cord, and not too many people get really interested in this part of the conversation. So often don't go really deep into the roots of it. just to keep it simple, look at it like a command center, right? Like this is a command center. We're going to be able to process what's happening here and then push out how we respond to what's happening, right? So for me, and I remember in the classroom, going through my master's, my doctorate, that always made a lot of sense to me. That it's this, you're in this command center and you're processing what's taking place, and then you're looking at how to respond to what's taking place. Often they use the words more of interpreting like the world around you, and then figuring out how to respond to that world around you. So uh, we look at how can I get into this window of tolerance? Well, I find that really what's important is to understand, well, what is this window of tolerance? As I mentioned before, it's a space where you feel at ease, you feel grounded. If you've ever been outside and taking your shoes off, right? And not everybody likes this, so you can kind of imagine a different scenario for you. I like this, so I'll use mine. And I like it in two ways. One is I like being in the mountains, and I like taking my shoes off, no socks, and I just really like my feet on the grass. And if it's a nice wind, man, I feel really like connected with the world. Or and I also like the beach, and I like getting my toes in the sand, right? Like Zach Brown, toes in. Well, I think he said toes in the water, and I'm hoping that's the singer. That toes in the water, blah blah blah. Man, I'm forgetting it, but I know it's such a good song. I know there's a beer in that song, so that's part of maybe that's part of what makes it a good song. Now, with the window tolerance, you may ask yourself, well, why do I want to be in that space? Well, it's your sweet spot. It's your ability to solve problems, to handle shit, to handle things effectively, right? So not only do you want to operate as often as you can in that space, you really want to figure out how can you lean into that space. Like what are the things that you need to do? Therapy, of course, working with your counselor, having a safe space where you could address trauma, heal, if you will. I also like to look at these classic grounding exercises, all the way from cognitive ones. Cognitive ones could be like an affirmation, right? So I may be able to say something to myself of "I'm here for me." I'm okay in this place. It could be breathing. If you're familiar with box breathing, that's a really wonderful exercise. If we keep it really simple, take three slow, deep breaths, right? It could be that. Stay calm, speak slowly to yourself. It could be that I connect with myself. I may be able to say, "Hey, I know that I'm upset right now, and I'm here for myself. I'm going to continue to breathe and let this feeling ride out. Let this feeling start from where it's at and then push its way out." So what happens is, and again, I mentioned this is a very short episode. I wanted to bring a lot of like just focus attention to the window of tolerance so that you're able to be in this space with me, right, in this podcast episode and have an idea of, I want to stay away from hyper, stay away from hypo, but I know they can take place, right? That I'm interpreting the world and I'm responding to it, and I may respond with one of those two. Of course, I want to be able to be in this window of tolerance, this sweet spot. We talked a little bit about what it means to be in that space, right? Like we found out that we're flexible, we're grounded in that state, we're calm, we're connected, we're able to process, we're able to problem solve. And then we look at what are the daily, the consistent work. And that's one of the treasures of life, like getting to the point where you understand that to get from A to B, it is about the work, it's about the effort. It's about the know-how, the maybe the intelligence, the ideas, the creativity, and all of those elements. And within them, there's something that weaves it all together. And I find that, perhaps there's many things that we weave them all together. I like to think that one of them is consistency, our ability to be consistent. And there's a simple reminder of the power of consistency, and that's the breath you take every day. It allows you to be here. So with your window of tolerance, think about what are the consistent exercises that you could do. It could be having a calm corner in the home that you go to. Perhaps there you have your headphones, a weighted blanket, and then you tune into something that really brings you to a good space. It could be that you check in with yourself, as mentioned, on a cognitive level, right? Say certain words to yourself. What made me smile today? What was the hardest part of my day? Um, Give it time. Give this process time. I find that that's one of my frustrations. I'll share with you. Sometimes I'm a bit impatient, and it's something that I'm learning in life, the importance of being patient. So now you have an idea of what we all do. We interpret the world, we respond to the world, and that can mean that we lean towards hyper, hypo, and we're connected. We're all connected here, I think, with if I may say so, with the goal of leaning towards this window of tolerance. And I certainly think that you can do it. Talk to your counselor this week about this window of tolerance. Talk to them about hyper arousal, hypo. See how it's coming out in different spaces of your life. And I think a lot's going to really come out, and that's where you're going to, of course, learn and you're going to grow, and hopefully it's a fun and immersive like process. Now, I shared it with you, short and sweet episode. I appreciate you lending me a little bit of your time. I'll see you in the next episode.